Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call to order the meeting of the Crime Prevention and Control Commission held today, Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. Zoe, please begin the roll call.
Mayor Mike Johnson or Aaron Atencio, Anne Marie Braga or Mimi Sherman,
Here.
Director Al Gardner, Chief Ron Thomas, Sheriff Elias Diggins,
Here.
Judge Carrie Lombardi,
Here.
Katie McLaughlin or Marley Bordowski, Colette Tvet or Leanne Fikes,
Here. And Leannis as well.
Karen McGowan and Alice Nightingale,
Here, and I also saw Aaron pop on.
Aaron Atencio, okay. Gary Heck, Yesenia Guzman,
Here.
Blake Renner,
Here.
John Walsh, Judge Lori Clark,
Here.
Dr. Jennifer Gafford,
Here.
Deanne Witzke, Kara Napolitano, Orlando Salazar, Anthony Pfaff,
Here.
Councilwoman Gonzalez Gutierrez, Councilman Paul Cashman, Councilwoman Sarah Parody, Matthew Kirsch, Jonathan McMillan, Greg Morrow,
Here.
Tito Betts, and we do not have quorum.
Thank you, Zoe. So welcome, everyone. And our first agenda item today is going to be our guest presenter, our city attorney from the city attorney's office, Troy Breton, that will be addressing the legal questions that arose from our executive session in March. Troy, you have the floor.
Hi everyone, I'm Troy. I don't have a presentation, but I did have a quick meeting with Shanae and Al Gardner, and I understand you guys have some questions, so I just wanted to introduce myself, make myself available. I don't know that I will be able to regularly staff your commission meetings, but I did want to try to answer any questions that you might have. I should note, Zoe, I heard you do roll call, and Katie McLaughlin is no longer our city attorney. It's Miko Brown now, so you might want to change that in your when you're doing your roll call. But so again, I don't have a presentation. I know there was a question about not currently having a chair or a co-chair, and they authorizing the expending of funds without is that right? I don't know. Maybe I'll just put the question out there, like what questions did you have about that?
And this is Shanae. I can speak on behalf of what I asked Troy about. So during our last meeting, when we were in executive session, I know there were some questions that came up about if the commission would be able to expend funds in the absence of a chair and co-chair. So we did pose that question to Troy and just wanted to get that feedback. And this is in relation to the request that was brought to the commission last month regarding a modification of the wellness program initiatives that county court brought forth. So if any of the commission members would like to come off of mute, if I'm mistaken what that question was. So while we have Troy available here, we can get that question answered.
I think that's how I remember the question. One of the couple questions. Yes.
Great. And so I took a look at the code and the bylaws. I didn't see anything in the code or the bylaws stating that, the chair or co-chair needed to make that decision. I gathered from the bylaws that the commission as a body has that decision, but I can see how, like, if you don't have anybody presiding over those meetings or those discussions, how that could get tricky. But I don't think your bylaws specifically address that. It might be something that you want to work on addressing, amending your bylaws to address that. So absent anything in the code, absent anything in the bylaws, I do think it makes sense to kind of default to Robert's rules of order. And I was looking at this before I got on. I didn't have as much time as I would have liked, but I do think you could appoint a chair pro tem to kind of, oversee those meetings and discussions if that's a concern. I mean, I do think because the bylaws are silent, it's the commission as a body that could do it, but it does make sense to me to default to Robert's Rules of Order and appoint a chair pro tem until you have those vacancies filled, if that's helpful at all.
I think that's helpful. Anybody else have any questions about it?
I think I agree with Mimi. It's hard to figure out how you conduct business without someone saying call to order and can I have a motion and how now we're going to vote. And so I think us having some clarity when we don't have a chair or a co-chair about how to get business, just simply get business done, I think is was some of what the group was concerned about. Hopefully we'll take care of that.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. And I think you could do that, making that happen. I think you could just do that by a majority vote of the commission when just simple, quick chair pro tem for those purposes and then move on. But if you need more detail on the process of how to do that, I'm happy to look in Robert's Rules of Order. I just kind of ran out of time before this meeting, but I think it could be as simple as majority election of the commission just to get somebody, kind of chair the meetings.
Sorry, can I?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Erin.
I think so. I just want to take a step back to you don't have to have a chair to have to be able to distribute money. I'm looking through the bylaws under section 2, see budget. Can you just walk through that section actually though? Because I think this is where I was getting tripped up, is that it does say you have to have a chair to be able to allocate the funds. So can you walk us through this?
Sure, let me find it. Where is it in the bylaws again? Oh, 2C.
It's on line
Okay.
415. Yeah. So like selecting a budget committee chair that shall be the current commissioner. Like I guess can you just walk us through this?
Yeah, I can. You'll have to forgive me because I'm just now looking at it, but
Specifically under 2, just so the group knows if you don't have it up, but it says coordinate the RFP process as required by City and County of Denver to distribute available funds to eligible organizations. And it says you have to do that on line 1 by the chair. If we don't have a chair, would that?
Committee chair.
Yeah, we don't have any of these chairs filled, is my understanding.
Could we share the screen maybe? That way everybody's looking at the same thing. I don't know who has that ability.
Yeah, 1 second. Can people see my screen?
Not yet.
There you
How
go.
about now?
Something's happening. There we go.
There we go. Yeah. So I guess I would just say that says there's a budget committee and you select a budget committee chair. that to me is different than a chair and co-chair of the overall commission. So to the extent you have a budget committee and don't have a budget committee chair, then I think you would need to select one to be in compliance with your bylaws.
Okay, so just to make sure that I'm understanding this, we do need to have a budget chair at a minimum to be able to approve funding at this point, to be in compliance.
Well, I mean, it does say that you'll have a budget committee and that one of the duties of the budget committee is selecting a budget committee chair. And then the rest that follows are also duties of the budget committee, not of the, I don't think it says they're of the budget committee chair.
Okay, sorry to like go back and forth. So are we legally, to be in compliance with our bylaws, are we able to authorize funding at this time without chairs in place?
When you say chair, okay, so you have a chair of the commission and you have a co-chair of the commission. And then you have a budget committee, and that budget committee is supposed to select a chair. So it sounds like, do you not have a chair of the commission or a co-chair of a commission? And do you have a budget committee, but that budget committee has not selected a chair, a budget committee chair?
We actually do have a subcommittee for budget. And I believe we had decided that it was going to be Mimi and Karen that were going to be chair and co-chair or co-chairs.
Okay. So yeah, the way I'm
That was
reading,
last week, just so you know. It wasn't
Yeah.
like it's been established for years.
yeah.
Correct.
So the way I'm reading this is like this list of four here are duties of the budget committee. The first one is to select a chair. Second one's coordinate the RFP process, and third, ensure it meets all criteria of the BMO. Fourth, communicate that. So nothing in here is saying that the budget committee chair is the only one that can authorize expenditures. Those are all duties of the budget committee.
I don't think the question is whether or not they can authorize expenditures. I think it's a matter of whether or not we can allocate funds out if we don't have those positions in place. Because I think we know that it is the body that makes those decisions to whether or not to expend the funds.
So the budget committee does the four things that are on that list. If you don't have a chair, I still think the committee can do the four things on that list. And if the overall commission, if you don't have a chair, you can still do the things that are in the commission's powers, but I would recommend that you appoint a chair pro tem just to oversee and direct those proceedings. But it's not like, the chair of the budget committee or the chair of the commission doesn't have the power to do, these are powers of the budget committee and powers of the commission.
Are we all clear? Do we have more questions about that piece? Aaron, I don't know. You're off mute.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I guess what I'm hearing is that because now we have Mimi and Karen as co-chairs of budget, we can move forward with monetary requests. Is that accurate?
Yes, yes, that is accurate because
Okay.
not because you have them. I mean, you can move forward with them with those with them in the chair, but I think you could have before, but it's better. I mean, I'm glad you have people in those positions now.
Again, that was just actually done last week. So we've been working with the subcommittees to get them established and start moving in the right direction. So this was something that we were planning on updating the commission today about those positions in those different subcommittees.
Great. And then I would just say generally, if you ever come across something where your bylaws seem to be silent on it, I mean, first, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help however I can. But if your bylaws seem to be silent, then I do think Robert's Rules of Order is a good place to turn when you're looking for procedural type stuff like that that your bylaws don't seem to address. And of course, you have the power to amend your bylaws if you recognize gaps or, other amendments you want to make. And we in the CAO can help with that too, if and when you decide to do that.
Just I don't know if the commissioners are finished with their questions. I have a question. I had actually forwarded you a question regarding we received nominations for chair and co-chair. However, the people that were nominated are actually delegates. So my question is, can delegates be able to be moved into those vacancies, being that they're delegates?
Okay, yes, I did. I'm sorry. I did see that email come across and I just haven't had an opportunity to look. But I can take a look at that this afternoon and then get back to you. I didn't see anything in the bylaws preventing that, but I honestly haven't had a chance to look that thoroughly, so I don't, want to say something when I haven't gone all the way through it. But I think, if they're members of, well, I'll stop. I just started to do what I said I wasn't going to do, so I'll stop there, but I will look into it and get back to you.
That sounds great. I appreciate that. I don't know if anyone else of the Commissioners Board has a question.
I have a different question. Oh, Karen, if you want to go first, go ahead.
So were we, sorry, I did read the agenda. Now I can't remember what's on the agenda. Were we planning on electing chair and vice chairs or whatever we're calling them today? And so, Troy, we will vote as if that's okay for delegates to be the chair. But if that's not okay, then you need to let Claudia know so that we can undo the thing that we're about to do, maybe potentially.
Okay. Is that a vote that you guys need to do today or?
Given the fact that we can operate without a chair and a co-chair, I don't think we have to do it today. We can wait for your analysis to give us a thorough
If you wouldn't
understanding of what's
mind, I
possible.
mean, I apologize and I hate to ask you guys to do that. But I'd hate to have to, you just have to redo it and undo it, if that were the case. I mean, just looking at it briefly, I don't think the bylaws say you can't be a delegate, but there do seem to be some limits to the delegate positions. The part I need to look into that I just don't know is like, I don't know if there are duties of a chair or a co-chair that would be beyond, the scope or those limits that are set for delegates. So while the bylaws might not specifically prohibit it, you may in fact, if you're putting delegates in those positions, you may be putting them in a position where they can't exercise all the duties of a chair or co-chair. So I guess I'd throw that out there for right now. But I can look more into it and get you a more solid answer.
Okay, it sounds like we should just postpone that vote until we have the answer and then we can move forward because I think we can figure out how to move forward with Robert's rules if we needed to. Okay. I have a different question, but I don't want to move on until anybody has any additional questions to that piece. Okay, I think one other thing that we were grappling with last time was so we had awarded dollars to the courts based on an RFP process. And then they approached us wanting to continue to expend the dollars, but change basically the scope of what they were doing. Not so drastic, but it was different than what they had originally proposed. And so what question came up is, can we just give them permission to spend the money on this different program without going through the RFP process because it's a different request? Or should we just tell them, well, you were awarded the monies for this thing, so if you can't spend them on this thing, then you can't spend the monies, and then you'll have to wait for a more competitive process to change the scope.
Yeah, how much is it? How big is the scope change? And are they under contract with a vendor or is it like RFP and then not contract yet?
It's RFP, and I believe it's money right to the courts to do their programming. And
Uh,
Shanae, Claudia, please tell me if I'm misspeaking, and I
That
cannot
is
remember the dollar amount.
Yeah, that's correct. So it was money. The commission, just to be clear about this, the commission already approved and authorized the funding of about $204,000. Well, we'll just round it, about $200,000 for the county courts to continue wellness program initiatives on behalf of the CPCC program. Our county court came to the commission last month and just they had a revision of their scope. So it's not changing the dollars at all. It's just a revision of the scope. Now, the one contradictory part of this, Troy, is this was a legacy program that was kind of out there a while ago. So it was to the benefit of this could be a city program. I don't believe there was a formal RFP actually put in place like we would do for a community organization such as a Second Chance Center or somebody outside the city. So it was more so we as a commission are going to give funds to county court to do these wellness activities. And that's how it was just kind of in place. And this was kind of carryover from back in the 2017, 2018 timeframe, where there were more like 33 city-run programs under commission work that we're now down to about 4 or 5.
okay.
So that's what the question is, because the county courts brought through just a change in the scope of what they want to do in terms of wellness initiatives. But the commission did already approve. And at that time, they did have a chair and co-chair for $200,000 for county court to spend for wellness activities. So they're just revising the scope of these activities now. And the question was, do we open it up to external, community organizations and do a full-blown RFP? Or is it enough where the commission can just make a vote then on their own to
Yeah.
modify this current scope of work?
Yeah, I mean, so that's definitely broader than the bylaws and would probably, we'd probably need to look at the Denver procurement rules um to see. And I think it would be incumbent on that budget committee to look at the procurement rules to make that determination. I don't have the answer off the top of my head, and I that's another one I can look into. Let me make a note real quick. Of what the procurement rules would say there. So I would say the budget committee should look at the procurement rules and consider that and then they can determine whether they need to do a new RFP, and I can help advise on that or not when I look at the procurement rules. Or whether just a new vote would be sufficient.
Right. And the fact that these funds weren't issued through RFP, right? That's right, Shanae, right? Because I was not part of the commission.
Oh,
So they weren't even issued via an RFP. They were issued, I don't even know how. I wasn't here. I think we have one person or two on here that may know how that actually happened. Greg, maybe.
Maybe I think you're maybe asking me to
Yes,
speak.
I'm like, Greg, I think you're the person.
Sure, and Sheriff Diggins has been on as long as I have, can comment as well if I misspeak. But historically, most of the initiatives that the Crime Prevention and Control Commission sort of recommended for funding were city department led or initiated. So there weren't RFPs because it was making a recommendation to expend funds to a city department. Because keep in mind, the commission doesn't allocate funds. The commission recommends to the expending authority, wherever the commission is housed, how those funds are to be expended. So it was city dollars to be allocated through the budget office for an initiative in a city department. So that's why there were no RFPs per se, because it was
gotcha.
city to city.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, given that, I mean, I think the budget committee should ask a couple of questions like, is this, is it like a drastic change? It sounds like the money's staying the same, so I think that's good. Is it a drastic change in scope? And of course, that's kind of subjective, but if it's a big change in scope, maybe that leans towards doing it. And would there be other people out there who would potentially bid on that? That probably leans towards doing it too. But if it's a small change in scope, the money stays the same, then I think it's reasonable for the budget committee to take a look at that and just determine that the change in scope is okay without going out to RFP. I mean, I don't know the details, but it doesn't sound like it's a significant, huge shift. Is that right?
I am trying to recall. Claudia, do you remember?
I don't
I
believe
mean,
that there was. I know that I don't, let me see if Molly's on the meeting, so let me just promote her really quick. Maybe she can speak to it.
While you're promoting her, I just want to, because Greg mentioned me, just chime in and say, Greg's right. Um, we've been around since the inception of the CPCC, and it was really an incubator for programs that then were going to move into organizations, even though the funding sometimes stayed in the CPCC, like those that are part of the sheriff's department. I'd also like to just step back for a few conversation points and just say, historically, we have never seen a delegate appointed as a chair or co-chair. It's always been the named executive that has been in that seat. Greg was actually one of the best that we ever had in the time that we've been around. And I believe, Colette, weren't you a chair at one point as well? Uh-oh, you're still on mute.
No, I wasn't. I was involved with the bylaws committee.
Bylaws committee. Okay, but yeah, I've never seen that a delegate was
That
appointed as the chair.
that makes sense to me, Sheriff. I mean, I really don't think the bylaws contemplate a delegate being in one of those positions. It looks to me like those are elected offices held by actual commissioners. So there's no specific prohibition in there, but it really doesn't. I would agree with what you're saying that it doesn't, the bylaws don't seem to contemplate it. Again, just because of those limits in scope on a delegate's authority, while they could cast a vote on behalf of an absent commissioner, I don't know. It seems like a odd setup to do that to me.
Hey, Troy, and I feel bad after this. I think I heard the sheriff say I was right, which thank you, Sheriff. That might be the first time in my career. But I think my memory says we actually have had a delegate serve as co-chair. My former co-chair, Helen Morgan, was a delegate as a chief deputy district attorney of the DA's office. So I wonder when we talk about the term delegate, is it someone that has been tasked permanently to sit on this commission by the executive director of a department versus someone who's substituting in a meeting? I would split hairs and say if the delegate is really who's representing that voice, I would advocate that they could be eligible for the chair.
Yeah, Greg, I agree with you. It's the latter rather than the former from my memory. So I agree with you. The delegates have always been the backup to the person, like it would be a division chief in the sheriff's department.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, it sounds to me that's a point worth clarifying in the bylaws. Just, getting that straightened out of, because it kind of sounds like there's two categories of delegates historically. The permanent person, that executive director or mayor or whomever appoints, and then somebody who just kind of fills in. So maybe having that distinction in the bylaws would be helpful.
And then Colette's got her hand up. Go ahead, Colette.
Just very quickly, Armando Saldate was as the head of safety, was the chair, I believe, for as long as I was there before he left. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because he ran all the meetings for the 2.5 years before he left. And I don't know if the head of safety wants to take that back. I'm not volunteering anyone, but that was what had happened.
I can answer that question,
Mhm.
Colette. I think when we did a vote, at least when it came over in 2023 and we made that vote, Armando was the co-chair and Jonathan was the chair. And so with Jonathan stepping down and Armando leaving, we in safety did not just want to make the assumption that it automatically went to Al as a co-chair without putting something before the commission to say that. But as Troy just referenced and spoke up to, and I guess one of the questions, Troy, would be, as you said, in the absence of a chair and co-chair, even as a chair pro tem, does that then fall back on the agency who is managing the budget and the dollars and the funding? So like in this case, as an expending authority under city fiscal accountability rules and city processes, because the budget and the dollars sit under CPCC, does that then obligate and or mean then in the absence of a chair and co-chair as a chair pro tem, does that automatically delegate then to the executive director of safety?
I don't think so. I mean, the spending authority is in the commission as a body, so I think it remains there, and then the body just elects a chair pro tem to, oversee those proceedings. But I think the spending authority stays with the commission. It doesn't default to an agency.
Claudia, I didn't know if you want to just take it back or see if there's any more commissioner questions.
I
Yeah,
apologize.
on the program, I would say that a vote of the budget committee is probably good enough unless you guys feel like there is something so radically different in the scope change, or again, it sounds like the dollars were the same. It sounds like I don't know the scope change. I'm not familiar with the program, but I feel like if the budget committee, takes an honest look at that and votes, that's probably good enough unless there's something that's drastically changed in here. But, you know, that's what I would say on that one. And then, yeah, I don't know if I can answer any other questions, but I'm happy to at least take them and try to find an answer and get back to you guys.
Regarding really quick, the information about the wellness program and the scope of work, Molly just wrote, no, the mission and population are the same. We're just routing through competency programming to also expand to meet those needs versus the wellness program.
Go ahead, Erin.
I was just gonna ask, so we had our audit findings last week. And so I guess when we say like it seems like it's good enough, do we feel like, I guess to the commission, do we feel like that answer? I don't want us to have an audit report come through and then us not be in compliance with what the audit said. I guess I guess I just want to throw that out to the group that I'm a little bit worried about that coming off the heels of this report.
I think where I keep getting hung up are these funds were not issued through an RFP process. So if they weren't, and they don't have to be, then it sounds like it's up to the commission or the budget committee, whichever, both, to decide what they want to do. Is that right, Troy?
That would be my take. Yes, there wasn't an RFP to begin with. sounds like the scope has changed slightly, but not a lot. The money is the same. The purpose of the program is the same. And then I think that, yeah, the budget committee should look at those things, deliberate on those things, take an honest look, and then, yeah, have a vote, have a recommendation.
Are there any other questions from the board right now? Okay, I believe those are all the questions that we have today, Troy. So I
Okay.
guess if you can get us that information, the clarity on that, that would be great so we can move forward with the questions that we have.
Yeah, I mean, your rules don't address that. So I think, it sounds like maybe you have had delegates in the past, be in those roles. So I don't know. I don't know that I really have an answer for you or that there's any source I could look to find that. If you guys, there are limits on the scope of the delegates' powers. So, but if that isn't in conflict with duties of a chair or co-chair, like if there would be no conflict there and it's fine to have a delegate in those positions, then I would say it's fine. If there is something that a chair or co-chair is expected to do that a delegate couldn't do, then I think you could run into some problems. But again, your bylaws are silent on that. And I don't know that you could look in Robert's rules. I don't know if it would go into the granularity of, like delegates and then like permanent delegates versus delegates that show up when a member can't make a meeting. So I'll see if I can find anything. I don't, I'm not hopeful that I really will.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would be of question when I read the roles of the chair is co-sign letters and other official documents on behalf of the commission. Otherwise, it's really just agenda setting and holding the meeting in order. So yeah, if you could let us know as quick as possible, that'd be great. Or we can write into the bylaws something about that piece.
I think I would recommend that. I think maybe you guys take a vote as a committee and then put it in your bylaws because your bylaws are what govern here, and you guys are solely in control of those bylaws. So I think I would recommend that the commission figure out how they want to handle it and then put it in the bylaws. If it's not a big deal to, have a delegate get their appropriate member to co-sign those letters, I think you could do that. Or maybe it's not a big deal to have the delegate co-sign the members or co-sign the letters. But I think those are commission decisions to make.
And Colette
Colette?
has her hand up.
Yeah, hi, Troy. Thank you so
Hi.
much for all of your information today. It's very, very helpful. One question that I have is if we had voted for the 204,000 for the wellness program, the scope is not changed radically or it's just minor. It's still serving the same people and the scope is similar. Can we as a commission vote on that now? It's come up several times, regardless of having the commissioner. That's the only question I wanted to ask you before you left.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could. I think it makes sense to document, explain what went on, and then, it's a public meeting. You would have that agenda, you'd have those minutes, you could document it, and you could have that vote and yeah, move forward.
Is there anyone else with any questions? Okay. All right, Troy, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on this call and hopefully we can get those answers.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure. Let me know if anything else comes up, and either I or somebody on my team be happy to help out as we can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, moving on to the next item that we have. It was Voting, discussion and or follow-up on the chair and co-chair nomination. But since Troy will be assisting on that response, we can go ahead and move forward until we can get some clarity on that item. Are there any questions, concerns, or comments? Okay. Given the issue that we have with not having a chair or co-chair, to ask the commission whether you feel comfortable moving forward with a vote regarding the proposed change to the scope of work for the wellness program. Again, the funding amount and investment remain unchanged from the program approved in December 2025. Or if the commission is not comfortable proceeding without a chair or co-chair, please state so, and we will defer this item to a future meeting.
Just checking, do we have a quorum now? Because we didn't originally.
That was my question also.
Yes, we
Zoe?
do. We do. We've had a couple of members join the meeting.
I would make a motion based on all the information we've received so far, that we can enter a vote regarding the wellness program. So I will, I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second on that motion?
I second Colette Tibet.
Thank you, Colette. All right. Zoe, please conduct a roll call vote. Commissioners, please respond with an aye or no.
Claudia, just to clarify, are we only voting that we can proceed with the discussion and a vote, or are we voting to approve the funding?
Correct.
I just made a motion in regards to us going forward with a vote, but I'm not making a motion as to the actual issue.
Thank you.
Apologies. Thank you for the clarity on that, Greg. Did we want to proceed with that revised, a motion to approve the revised scope of work and continue with the funding? Or did we want to proceed without a chair or co-chair to defer this item to a future meeting? Any thoughts or discussion around this?
I don't know if other people are maybe thinking the same thing, but I'm super confused about what we're doing right now. But if other people have a better understanding, like maybe it's just me.
Okay, so Judge Clark, you made a motion that we can vote on the item without a chair and a co-chair. Is that your motion? Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes, that there was some discussion as to whether we should or could or shouldn't. I'm making a motion that we can go forward with that discussion and possible vote. Because I don't think we're all, I mean, I don't know that we're all on the same page in regards to the ability to move forward on that issue. Does anybody have questions in regards to clarification?
I honestly don't think we need a chair or a co-chair to be able to have the vote on this particular issue because I don't know what role they would play. I mean, the commission staff can help decide and call the vote, all the things. I think we're capable of making that decision. I think when we call to vote, whether we agree with where the funding changes, we can talk some more. And we have a lot of work to do about how we operate and what we do with these dollars. So if we make a yes vote, if we decide we can vote, fine. If we make a yes vote and we then say we're going to vote on the wellness program, again, as I said before, I'm not opposed to the program. That's not the issue. It's how we as a commission are determining how to spend these funds that has had me in angst for the entire time I've been a part of this commission. So I think that will probably take a little bit more discussion. So if we want to vote on yes, go ahead and we can vote, great. How we vote will be a different conversation. Or if we even entertain a motion. And it
So
sounds
do
like
we
this vote was
want
a
to,
first and second.
so yeah, it looks like we do have the first with Judge Clark and then a second on Colette. Did we want to move forward with the discussion in a future meeting?
I guess, are we just voting at this point? If we have a motion and a second to vote on whether or not basically we're voting on whether or not we are okay with voting on these funds being allocated without a chair and a co-chair. So do we just vote now? Unless people have more to say.
That's what I would suggest, is that we roll call.
If there's no further discussion.
Being that there's none, Zoe, can you please do the roll call vote?
Aaron Natencio,
Yes.
Mimi Sherman,
Yes.
Chief Ron Thomas, Sheriff Diggins,
Nay.
Judge Lombardi,
Yes.
Colette Tutt,
Yes.
Karen McGowan, Yesenia Guzman,
Yes.
Blake Runner,
Yes.
Judge Clark,
Yes.
Anthony Bath,
Yes.
Councilwoman Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez,
Yes.
and Greg Morrow.
Yes.
So, yes.
So Zoe, can you
You want to
repeat
go ahead and call it?
and say what the total number is, a yeses versus no?
Yes, the yeses were 10, the nos were 1.
No, I'm a yes. I didn't hear my name called.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss anybody else? So 11 yeses, 1 no.
Okay, moving on with the next item. And that item is to give updates on our subcommittees. If I can get the speaker for the data subcommittee to just give a recap of what we have been in discussions in those subcommittee groups.
So I think Cara was going to be the spokesperson, but I don't see her on today. So I'll go ahead and fill in for her unless you object, Claudia.
No, thank you so much, Greg, for stepping up. Yeah, Cara is actually out of town and she's in rural Colorado.
Okay. So the data committee has met twice, once in March and once in April. The first meeting focused on some discussion with the Department of Safety data team about anything different from last year's program evaluations for the reentry program and the wellness court that the commission might want to see as it considers any future recommendations to either continue funding or move those funding to city departments. And then in our April meeting, we spent a lot more time talking about the historic and current challenges that we all seem to at times be frustrated with when it comes to evaluating programs and, coming up with either a framework or a structure for future funding initiatives, what the data requirements would be, that they be placed either in scope of work or city contract, and that the data team could work with the vendor to ensure that the capabilities were there. But there was a strong framework for what the data requirements would be moving forward. We do believe that we still need some guidance from the commission in terms of its sort of future focus and how it resets itself before we can move too much into the detail, but that's the conversation we're having.
Thank you, Greg. Does the commission have any questions or concerns at this time for Greg? Okay, thank you so much, Greg, for that update. Moving on to the next subcommittee, it's the budget subcommittee. We can get the spokesperson.
I think that's me.
Thank you,
So-
Mimi.
Hi, yes. So we did have a lot of conversation about what we can do now, what we can't do now because of where we are in the budget cycle. And so the recommendation from the budget committee was to maybe take the next 6 months or less, and this kind of mirrors what Greg and his work group are saying, to sort out the intent of purpose of the commission, and then make some recommendations maybe in Q3 or Q4 about how to expend the funds for this year, but then also having on the ready some in Q3 some budget requests for next year. Should we determine that we want to shift the funds to an agency, for example, we have to do that through the budget process, at least, Shanae, that's my understanding. And so that would happen, that would start June-ish this year. So we'd have to start having that conversation rather quickly. And I guess the commission needs to say whether or not the budget committee is going to have that conversation and make those recommendations, or if the commission as a whole wants to be involved in that conversation, which can be both. We can make recommendations and everybody can talk about it, but that's where we're at the moment.
Do we have any questions or concerns or comments for the budget committee? Yes, Greg.
I think I heard a question in there, Mimi, but I would be a fan of committees bringing forward recommendations. In my experience, especially with a body this large, it's difficult for us to organize and get anywhere as a group. And if we have subcommittees driving us to a destination, I think we'll get some progress made.
Then we will take that as an action item to go and make a recommendation, consider all of our options, and we'll make that presentation to council next meeting, for the commission as a whole next meeting. Thanks. Greg.
Thank you. Thank you both. And the next committee is the ordinance. We still have not had an actual meeting for the bylaws and ordinance, so we still need to work on that. So hopefully I can work with the commissioners that are on that in that group after this meeting, and we can have a chat as to when we can schedule that meeting at that time. Are there any other questions, comments at this
Just
time?
really quickly, Claudia, are you gonna work to schedule the next committee meetings, or is that something you want us to be doing?
I will continue to schedule them. Then it just
Thank
makes it
you.
a lot easier for me to just make sure that everyone's, showing up to
It's easier for us too. So thank you.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm being used in this format. All right. Seeing that there are no other action items on the agenda, I want to go ahead and open it up for any public comment at this time. And it looks like we do have public comment from Lance Smith.
Hello, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thanks for your time. I'm only going to take 3 minutes real quick. My name's Lance. I'm a disabled Marine Corps veteran, Thornton resident, and a father. And I wanted to talk to you guys about our kids real quick. I founded a platform called Easy Peasy, and I'm going to be direct with you that this is the first platform of its kind in the country. At the heart of Easy Peasy is our youth entrepreneur program. We built a pathway for teenagers to start real businesses in the trades like lawn care, window cleaning, pressure washing, painting, not a real summer job for someone else. It's their own business. They set their rates, they book their own clients, they build their own reputation. We charge 0 platform fees for our young entrepreneurs. So every dollar they earn, they keep. We also have a scholarship fund specifically for our young entrepreneur graduates. But why I want to talk to you guys today on the crime prevention part of it is we didn't just stop there. We built safety in from the start. So before a young entrepreneur ever sets foot at a job site, we run that address through the National Sex Offender Registry. And if a registered offender is at that address, the job automatically gets blocked from our young entrepreneurs. When they arrive at the job, they check in through the app, and their parent immediately gets a text. Your kid is here at this address at this time. Once they check in, we turn on live GPS tracking at that time. And from that moment until they check out, their exact location is being monitored. The parent will get an alert that says, a text message that says, hey, Tyler pressed the SOS button and may need help at this address. Here's the part that most people don't get of it. In the background of it, completely and silently, we are trying to work with law enforcement on if they have an SMS number, that when, excuse me, a child pushes the SOS panic button while they're at one of the job sites, it automatically sends an alert to the law enforcement at the same time. It'll give law enforcement the child's name, age, exact location, and the same live tracking link, and the parent's contact information, all delivered without Tyler having to do anything other than press one button. When the job is done, they hit a button that says check out, and the parent gets another text that says, Tyler just checked out of his job, everything's good to go. Every parent wants peace of mind when their child goes out to find jobs, especially with summer coming up, like leaf raking, lawn mowing. My son Blake started power washing trash cans. He built flyers. He went around to the whole neighborhood trying to drum up business. Excuse me. I had no way of knowing whose house he was at and if he was safe while he was doing this. So I built the first platform in the country that now gives our young entrepreneurs a place to actually find safe work that is fully monitored, and it is visible throughout the whole thing by the parent. And this is why it matters specifically for the city. We're looking for cities to partner with us to get the word out. this is one of the first times we're not here asking for money from you guys. We just want to help get the word out to our young entrepreneurs at our schools, in our communities, that there is now a platform, a first of its kind platform that has safety built into it from the roots up. So I really would just love some kind of help spreading the word, getting in touch with some kind of community relations people with the city of Denver. It would be awesome for the city of Denver to be able to claim on a tech startup of this type that they were the first city in the nation to partner with Easy Peasy, because we will be going nationwide in about 6 months from now. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for that. Are there any questions from the commission? Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Just put his contact info in our, I actually can't find chat on the Zoom here today, but I'm just wondering if you, Lance, could you somehow, give your info to Claudia, and we'll see if we can connect you to some folks who do that work through this.
That would be, I would really appreciate that. The sheriff there would can probably understand as well the community angle that this can take, teaming up with law enforcement, because we're keeping the kids off the street. If they're not on a corner, then they might be mowing a yard.
Sounds good, Mr. Smith. I'll go ahead and get, if you want to just email me your contact information, I'll get that over.
Will do. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Are there any other public comments at this time? Seeing that there are no more public comment, we will move to adjournment. This concludes all items on today's CPCC agenda. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you and have a great day.
Thanks, Claudia.
Thank you. Bye-bye.